Located 2 miles from the nation's capital, Bethesda-Chevy Chase High School has long been a hotbed of student activism. Take 1970. The U.S. had just invaded Cambodia. En masse, BCC students walk right out of class and march into downtown Bethesda to protest. The very next year, students vote to abolish the National Honor Society. That same year, they boycott the prom. In the last few years alone, BCC students pushed back against an administration trying to pull school newspapers from their hands, created a viral video campaign about the struggle of being a minority student at a predominantly white, affluent high school, created an awareness campaign of sexual violence on college campuses, which captured both the imagination of the school and the attention of the Obama White House, and, did we mention, climbed trees to stop the advance of chainsaws. For generations, BCC barons have been drawn to the same wellspring, a wellspring of what Principal Dr. Jones calls a sense that they can act upon their world and make a difference. What is possible? Strike that. What will happen when the entire student body of BCC unites behind one social cause, unites behind one social action, the entire school for an entire school year? That is the challenge. Welcome to Activist High.
Girls' sports teams just don't receive the same amount of support and recognition that the boys' teams do.
Immigration is a political, social, and ethical issue in today's society.
At our high school, the cafeteria is the biggest sign of socioeconomic disparity.
Together, we can end sexual violence.
I really like the one that talks about improving the cafeteria.
I think probably one of the main issues that I've seen is the prejudice against people based on where they live.
Our plan is to make the cafeteria a place where students of all backgrounds can come together and not feel ashamed to be in the cafeteria.
There are about 2,000 students who attend BCC High School. At least 6% of them are on farms. The 6% that are on farms are mainly Hispanic and African American. Sometimes I'm on farms, sometimes I'm not. Got a little fluctuating thing going on there. But in the 10th grade, I remember walking to the cafeteria and getting some french fries or something and walking down the hallway, just minding my business. And some people from my classes were coming up to me asking if I was really eating the cafeteria food as if it was something that was unheard of.
The cafeteria is a very chill place, but if I had to choose, I'd rather go out for open lunch.
So we've definitely noticed that there's an effort in BCC to close the achievement gap, but the cafeteria is enforcing the achievement gap because we make it a place where it's literally the destination for kids on free and reduced meals, and that's not fair to them because they feel embarrassed to be in there because they know it's like the place for them. And I've heard it be referred to as the ghetto by multiple people. And I went in there a few weeks ago and one of the security guards literally asked me if I was lost and was wondering why I would be in the cafeteria because I'm a white girl, and that shouldn't be the case. It should be a place where all students are together and it's not weird for anyone to be in there.
Country is located in northern Spain and south Western France. When working on a program of this scale, it involves a lot of different collaborations. Language can be an issue, even though in Basque Country many people speak Spanish, or Castellano as they call it. Basque is the primary language, so trying to understand each other across cultures, across languages, across time zones. It would be really late there when it was earlier here. So those are some of the challenges.
I think it's vital to preserve any language and any tradition. Is the way that people has to see the world. It's like here we go, and it's a way to preserve the tradition, the sports, everything. So I think it's really important.
Vamos a ver, la fabricamos exactamente desde hace 2000 años antes de Jesucristo. El sistema lo trajeron los romanos, Añana. Pero 5000 años atrás la sal las hacían con fuego.
This is really a collaborative experience coming together, and everything that we did and we're working on we worked on in collaboration. We had weekly meetings, we had many visits. I went down to Basque Country 4 different times in order to get the project rolling and get it together to create this wonderful exhibition you see here.
This man makes a pseudonym and crawls behind it like a worm. This woman on the telephone says she is a man, not a woman. The mask increases, eats the worm. Stripes for mouth and eyes and nose. The voice of the woman hollows. More and more like a dead one. Worms. And the glottal stops. She hates the thought of a baby. Stealer of cells, stealer of beauty. She would rather be dead than fat. Dead and perfect, like Nefertiti. Hearing the fierce mask magnify. The silver limbo of each eye. Where the child can never swim. There is only him and him.
I'm Camilo Montoya.
And I'm Emilia Valentina Escaño Carreras Santiago. It's my time of the year again,
Yep.
Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yep.
If Americans could understand one thing about us Hispanics, what would it be?
That we're not all just rapists and murderers.
And you don't need a wall to keep us out.
Right. You see, there's many Hispanics that can't even kill a fly, like me.
Yeah, definitely. And also, we're not all the same. We're not all Mexicans, and we don't all eat quesadillas. We each have our own culture.
We're all different. Hispanics come in many sizes and shapes.
And some of us don't even look or sound Hispanic.
Like Nick.
Our cameraman.
He's Hispanic.
He doesn't look Hispanic.
But we love him.
Kind of.
Not really.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we have a good debate. We have some people talking about whether Heritage Months are valuable or not.
I think it goes more in depth, like when we are in this month, because the history we learn about is more in depth than, like, for example, Black history just being brought up when we're discussing slavery in class or when we're discussing Martin Luther King. So I guess it does lessen the barriers when you actually hear about it. You're listening to the history and taking it into account and just deciding to ignore it and put it to the side and being like, this is just another promotion for some Heritage Month.
Yeah, I don't think it helps, because it depends on the individual who's listening to it. While I may do a speech on how El Che Guevara did a lot for the Latino culture and how we look at things, my sister, who's older than me, might not care at all about that. So it depends on each person and how they receive it.
I think it will help because we are in a school where we have maybe a different kind of society inside, comparing with the old society of the USA, of just for a city. But I think it will help to the people to know the difference people that we have in front of us, and we don't really know who they are and where they come from and what is their history, and I think it would be very important.
All right, so what do you think could be done differently, or what do you think should be done with this upcoming Heritage Month? What do you guys think are good ideas coming from someone who identifies with that heritage? How would you like people to celebrate your culture?
Well, I think everyone should celebrate it however they want. If you don't want to celebrate it, then that's fine. And if you do, then that's fine. Everyone should be able to choose whether they will celebrate it or not.
I think that by celebrating each other and celebrating how each of us is different, that's what needs to be done. I'm not saying you need to go and celebrate Hispanic culture, you need to go celebrate Black culture. I'm saying that we need to embrace the diversities that's among each other and celebrate that diversity and not consider a liability among us.
Yeah, I think we should be more aware of the diversity that we have here in our school and try to enjoy it a little bit, and I think we should, we don't really have to say, yeah, we have to celebrate this way, we have to do this, we have to do this. But maybe it's a good month or maybe an excuse to know the people you have next to you, like the people who you share all your classes and you don't really know where he or she come from.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
Hello, Bethesda Chevy Chase High. This is Barbara Jean reporting to you with this year's news. And what news! I'm sure all of you have been practically biting your nails over the BCC High School nickname contest. As many of you may know, the contenders were the Bulldogs, the Blue Satans, the Barons, the Buccaneers, and our original nickname, the Highwaymen, was entered into the race as well. I'm pleased to announce that the winner, with 266 votes, is the Barons. This will be the school's nickname for the foreseeable future. As the world turns to military activity, so does Bethesda. I'd like to call a moment of appreciation for Irving Bragg and Charles Saxelby, two of our own seniors of draft age who were called to duty this week. Stay safe out there, boys. We all wish you luck. I hate to disappoint you all, but it's just in that the selling of chocolate milk has been halted by the school board. The decision was based on the fact that any form of chocolate contains theobromine, a stimulant and habit-forming drug which produces a craving for chocolate and diminishes an appetite for other food. So say so long to that last sip of chocolate milk, kids. I know I'll miss it. And now for the most outstanding piece of news. A spectacular fire razed the upper story of the Bethesda Chevy Chase High School last Wednesday night. The fire was estimated to have started a little before midnight. Nearly 3,000 people watched 6 fire companies fight the fire, which was visible for miles around. Fireman John Adair, who happened to be Bethesda Chevy Chase's very first graduate in 1926, was killed on the scene. We are all very grateful to him. The building is damaged, but still able to be used. Repairs will be done on mainly the attic and the cafeteria. Meanwhile, hate to break it to you, school will continue as scheduled. And now the latest in fashion. Wishbone jewelry is sweeping the country. Save the wishbones from Sunday's chicken, paint them with nail polish, and string them into necklaces or bracelet. Makes a novel adornment. The male influence continues to be a prevalent influence in the fashions of Bethesda's Bells. Minnie Schrader and Dot Foster can be seen wearing their snappy plaid shirts from the men's department, and Irene Tilley is up to the minute in her man-tailored longer-length jackets. Cardigans and sweaters are getting longer and longer, but those good-looking plaid skirts, a necessity to all girls' wardrobes, are getting shorter and shorter. Well, Bethesda Chevy Chase, that seems to be all, at least for now. I'll see you next time. So long. Oh, and you mustn't forget to follow me on Twitter, @BarbaraJean1940. Oops, wrong era.
Eggs, honey, sugar, applesauce, flour, baking soda, cinnamon, ginger, anise, walnuts.
The reason why I'm making honey cake is on Rosh Hashanah, it's often common practice to dip apples in honey to resemble a sweet New Year.
Crack 3 eggs into a large bowl. Add 1.5 cups of honey. Mix everything up. Add 2 cups of sugar. Mix it up. Add 2 cups of applesauce. 4 cups of flour. Add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Add 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Of ginger. Add 1 teaspoon of anise. Add 1 cup of walnuts. Unless you're nut free, then skip it. Grease the pan. Now we have the mixture. Bake at 350 for 40 minutes.
And my mother, she remembers my grandma Sadie. My grandma Sadie was a very small lady and was 80 years old. And she would buy from the butcher this huge veal breast, which was delicious, but very fatty. And she would be this little lady, but she would be pounding and turning over and banging and banging and like picking up this giant piece of meat. And Ema says, when she asked my grandmother to learn how to lift it, she couldn't even lift it. And that's very special, my grandma Sadie. She lived to be 100. And it's very characteristic of her, you know, to be this strong lady. I think it's really amazing.
Let cool the pan for a few minutes, then let finish cooling on the plate.
And also, my dad, he had his experience was a little bit different because my grandpa, my Saba as I call him, he was a rabbi. And Abba says normally, like, you know, there's a little bit of pressure that he had. Like, he had higher expectations on him because he was a rabbi's son. But he said on the high holidays, when he saw my Saba wearing his kittel, which is a white garment, it's often traditional on Yom Kippur, weddings, also when you die. He looked so radiant standing up on the stage and holy. And when he saw that, he felt very proud of his Saba.
I hope all of you have a wonderful and sweet new year.
People's attention span is so short on the internet. My first videos were running out to about 6 minutes, and I was told again and again that's way, way too long. You've got to get it down to 3 minutes. You've got to get it, now we are limited to 2.5 minutes. That is very, very short. Whereas in print, you know, someone who's reading a review, that might run on 800, even 1,200, sometimes 1,400 words. You can expand your ideas so much, you can discuss an issue with so much more nuance. In video, it's got to be fast. People are constantly tempted to drift away, to click off to another story. You're in a kind of a panic to keep someone's attention, which is what the videos that I make are trying to satirize. But part of that speed, that's constantly clipping away and cutting the lines off with other lines, is meant to satirize how short people's attention span is online. So I'm kind of doing what I'm also making fun of at the same time, which is kind of cheating.
It started as a satire. It started as the Charles' satire of all the things newspapers are asking their journalists to do. The new medium, convergence journalism, meaning all the medium are converging. If you're not asked to do videos, you're asked to do Tumblr or Twitter, you name it. We gotta make sure you guys are ready to do anything that's thrown at you. You basically have to be the most nimble journalist you can.
Don't you think you're exaggerating a bit? I mean, there are clear limits to what journalists are asked to do. We're ready to test that intercom now.
Let's hear it for Ron Johnson.
That was great. His idea.
I'm actually confused with hiding us.
Were you even expecting that?
No, I was just like, I bought into it. I thought it was someone like working, and then like, I'm still reeling. Like that was very well done.
200,000 people are supposed to show up, 120 authors. It is enormous. It's all free, it's all open to the public. It's just great, great fun. The Post is a charter sponsor of the book fair, has been since the beginning. This is the 16th year, so when I came to the Post 12 years ago, it was already part of the Post and part of the Library of Congress. Each year the Post puts out a special supplement about the book fair. It just came out Sunday's paper. It's so much bigger. Oh my gosh, so much bigger. The first book festival, I'm told, was about 20,000 people. Now it's 200,000 people.
Oh, wow.
Used to be on the mall, now it's in the convention center. Used to be a few dozen authors, now it's 120. In every way, it's just big, really big. And I don't think it can get any bigger. We're at capacity now, unless we went to 2 days, something like that. There's nothing like that private experience with somebody else's consciousness. It's not like having a friend, it's not like being in love, it's a totally unique experience where it's just you and those words on the page and that illusion of communion with somebody else's mind that is like nothing else. And thank God humanity developed this thousands of years ago, because I think it transforms us and makes us more human.